everybody, what's going on? It's Space Cowboy here. Welcome back to the channel with another video for you guys here today. And we got to talk about Tony Pollard and what is next for him, right? Because you look at how 2022 went for him. He broke out. He showed he can be one hell of a player for the Cowboys. And now he's fighting for a long-term contract extension. You know, he's got the franchise tag, and the deals for running backs are not the same, right? The market for running backs is devaluing, but we really want to talk about, like, what is looking like the long-term plan for the Cowboys, right? So before we dive into that, if you guys can hit the like button, that'd be greatly appreciated. Subscribe if you're new, and hit the notification bell as well to show your support for the channel. And also, if you want more content, make sure you do that so that you don't miss out, right? So, Tony Pollard, you look at his stats from 2022, right? He had played 49.5% of all the snaps on offense. He had 193 attempts, 1,007 yards, averaging 5.2 yards per carry, 9 rushing touchdowns. He had 39 receptions, 371 receiving yards, and 3 receiving touchdowns. He was an extremely dynamic weapon for the Cowboys, which, when he came into the league, one of the biggest things I said is you need to get this guy the ball in the passing game. You can line him out, and it was so frustrating during the Garrett administration for this dude not to get touches. And even in the early goings of the Mike McCarthy era, he didn't get a whole lot of touches. I mean, you look at the stats, right? 2019, 18.1% of the snaps. 31.7% of the snaps the next year. 30.5% of the snaps the following year. And then you go to 49.5. Now he's probably going to get a huge amount, because you look at the running back room, it's pretty small, right? You know, you have Tony Pollard. Then you have Ronald Jones. You have Malik Davis. You now have Deuce Vaughn, right? You now have Rico Dowdle in there. Like, when you look at it at face value, you know, it's really going to be the Tony Pollard show at the running back spot. The Cowboys didn't invest a whole lot into the running back position. So, you know, you also look at a guy like Hunter Lipke at the fullback spot. You know, is he going to be the short yardage guy? Do they bring Zeke back? No, I don't think so. But, but you look at his overall efficiency, it's impeccable. I mean, you look at 2021, he was one of the more efficient running backs in football. I mean, 5.5 yards per carry on 130 touches. That's pretty damn good. And then you kind of look at how he's really progressed. He doesn't have a whole lot of mileage on his body. And I mean, the injury during that playoff game really sucked. But I think what's going to benefit him is that he's going to have a different offense that's really catered more so to not being like, we're going to pound and just keep running Pollard into the ground. I don't want that to happen, but I think what Pollard does compared to Zeke is that we know that speed kills, right? And the Cowboys have been missing that in their rushing attack for years, because Zeke, you know, lost a step and he wasn't the same kind of guy. And also on top of that, like, you weren't using him effectively. I think with you having Pollard, I think with you having Deuce Vaughn, those dudes, if, you know, Vaughn makes the team, which I think he will, that's going to tremendously, as I hit my microphone, it's going to tremendously help the Cowboys really put people on edge, because a lot of the times during the whole Kellen Moore, Jason Garrett experience, when it comes to running the football, you're just running the football for the sake of running the football, and you don't have that oomph that you would want to have. Now you kind of have that back, but what worries me is, what does Pollard look like after the injury? You know, we're hearing good things about him. We're hearing he's recovering well, and I think he'll be fine, but I think that really factors into the long-term plans, right? Because if the Cowboys use Pollard a whole lot, and you got to think about his age, he's going to be like 27 when you look to re-sign him. I'm not really looking to sign him for 5 years. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't scream that. And also, like, you're going to command that kind of money to another running back, and it's not like he's 23. It's not like he's 24, right? Like, we're talking about a dude that is going to be in his late 20s. And I want Pollard to get his money. I'm not trying to say I hope he doesn't get his money. I don't give a shit if the Cowboys pay him or someone else pays him. I want him to get paid. I'm just kind of looking at it from a team building perspective. If the Cowboys were smart, you would do what you did to DeMarco Murray. You run that dude into the ground. You give him all of that so that he can get a paycheck. You let him get his paycheck and you move from there, right? And the problem is, I don't think the Cowboys are going to do that approach, and that's what pisses me off, because you just got out of a contract with Zeke, and you're just going to fall back into that. Hell no. So I think I'm really curious to see what they do with Deuce Vaughn, for example, right? Because if Vaughn starts showing glimpses of basically doing what Pollard can do, except he's shorter, maybe the Cowboys elect to, like, okay, we'll keep Vaughn and we'll go draft another running back, right? And I think that's really going to be key, is look at the snap count and look how much is you, because we got to understand that Pollard is going to be used a considerable amount more than what we saw. So that could affect his rushing yard averages, and we might be having a conversation of, like, maybe Pollard isn't built to be a guy that can carry the whole load. And I'm not trying to push that narrative. It's just, these are conversations that are going to be had. Contract year, I'm glad he got his franchise tag and he got paid the big bucks, but that's the conversations that are going to be had in the, back end of things. I mean, he only started 4 games. I would be curious to see what he would do in a full starting set, getting 80, 90% of the snaps. But I'm really curious to see what Mike McCarthy does, because historically, Mike McCarthy doesn't really have that one running back. He goes with a stable of running backs. And, it's going to be fun, because I really am curious to see what Pollard's going to look like back from the injury, full-time starter, because a lot of people have been like, we want to see this. And I've been huge on that, He really should have been starting from 2021 onward, arguably 2020 onward, but we're not here for that. So if you guys enjoyed this, please leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and hit the notification bell. Tell me down below, do you believe Tony Pollard's going to have an awesome season? Do you think we should re-sign him? Put that down below, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Have a good one, guys. Goodbye.